Okay, I'm finally doing it. I'm finally making a video of the most commonly asked question in my life, which is, what was it like going to Burning Man as a child and how has it shaped you? And all these fun questions that people love asking me about. So I figured I'm gonna make a video about it. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Gemma. I'm an art teacher, but I don't teach conventional art, I teach creativity. So how to approach art. Anywho, we're just gonna dive right into the video and talk about the story behind why my parents took me to Burning Man as a child. So for the backstory, my dad is an artist and my mom at the time, I believe, was finishing college, and we were living out here in the Bay Area. It's funny because I'm now back in the Bay Area, and my dad was just very involved in the arts community. What is this? Anyways, my dad was very involved in the arts community, and he was selling paintings. He would go to Telegraph and hang his paintings on the street and sell them. The first year that we went was 1996. I was born 1995, so I was only an infant and my mom brought me for a day. So that wasn't officially my first burn. I mean, I was there, I watched the burn, but obviously I'm not going to remember much of it. I do remember being there when I was 4 years old, which was 1999, when I first had my full burn as a child. And the reason why we would go to Burning Man is because my dad, as an artist, wanted to showcase his artwork. And that was a good way for him to kind of network and spread the word. He also had a VW van that he turned into an art car. It was called the Checkered Van. He meticulously put checkered shaped, oh gosh, there's something in my eye. These square shaped pieces of refrigerator tape all over the entirety of our VW van. It took him months to do it. It's funny the way that art cars have changed throughout the years. I remember there was a penny van, and now there's just these massive pieces of art that are covered in LEDs and lasers and all these magnificent things. But the art car used to be quite simple at the beginning of Burning Man, so it's gotten quite advanced over the years. So yeah, the year was 1999. My brother, my sister, my mom and dad, we all pack up, go to the burn as a family. The first thing I remember was the drive arriving there. There's just always something about the drive of being out in the middle of the desert. I love it. I still love it. It gets me so excited every time entering the city and getting close. It's just, you could feel the energy. When we got there, it was daytime. My parents, funny enough, had us hide and sneak in because they couldn't afford to buy everyone tickets. So that was a funny memory that I actually very much don't remember. I saw a naked guy for the first time. He was painted blue, and I was so confused. I remember just staring and being very deeply confused, thinking that he must have been not from this planet. But this is just a 4-year-old's brain. This is what I recollect. Burning Man used to be a lot smaller, too. It was not as big as it is now. It felt a lot more tribal because there was drums and fire, light bulbs. LEDs were not really a thing. There were maybe a few, but it was not really a thing. Glow sticks, that's not as much of a thing, hopefully. Another thing I remember is my parents would take turns watching over me. I hung out at the camp most of the day because I was just a little 4-year-old, so it was not easy to always truck around with me everywhere. But when they were taking turns watching over me, they would pour water on the playa, and I would just play in the mud all day. I remember I made a bunch of little mud snowmen, and it was just a very childlike moment, It's just what we do, playing in the mud. I took all my little snowman statues and I hid them in the nooks and crannies of the van. And when I was 12, I ended up going in the van right before we sold it, and I found all the little snowmen in the nooks and crannies, and it actually made me want to cry because I had such a fond memory of that. And then tying back to that story, in 2014, I went back with my sister. She got me a ticket to go to Burning Man as a graduation gift. We were in the line 4 cars away from the entrance when they decided to close the gate because it was raining. So everyone was stuck in their cars for almost 24 hours. And then we got out of our cars. We knew what was going to happen. We saw what happened a few years ago when it gets wet on the playa. And I got out of the car and I started making pottery out of the playa clay, because it just turns into this clay. And I made a bunch of ashtrays and I gave them out to people. So yeah, it's fun how that came back around full circle. A lot of people ask, how did Burning Man shape my life? How did that influence me throughout the years? It's hard to pick out specifically how it can shape my personality. It could have shaped it, but I know for a fact it made me want to go back. And I know for a fact it just created this big sort of identity around Burning Man in my life. Just because everyone said, oh wow, you went to Burning Man as a baby, what was that like, and I had so much fascination going back because it just felt nostalgic, felt familiar. And then throughout the years I've gone back several times. I'm not an every year person, but I try and go back when I can. So I've been a total of 9 times, and I love it. I feel like the way that it's shaped me is it's made me a more open-minded person. I've always been an outdoorsy person, so that just adds to it, the outdoorsy element. It inspires me to make art. It inspires me to be in a flow. And for those of you who go to Burning Man frequently and know, the energy field is so powerful there that everything becomes so synchronized. I notice that I think of things and then they happen. And that is where I discovered synchronicity, was at the burn, is thinking of things and having them happen. But that doesn't just happen at the burn. For me now, it's everywhere all the time. But when I was first waking up to the magic of synchronicity, that is where it would most frequently happen. So it just has woken up magic inside of me. It's invigorated my artistic muse self, and it's made me more free-spirited. Yeah, all I can really chalk it up to is I feel like Burning Man feels like home when I'm there. I feel very comfortable. And I seek out spaces where I feel alive like that, where I feel synchronized and I feel like I can be fully expressive. In the most recent year, though, I've felt like anywhere can be that in my own being. I feel like everyone could have that, but I've felt very at home everywhere I go. And I guess the best way to describe it is the lessons of Burning Man have integrated into my physical being. There's just parts of me that I feel so deeply that I just know I'm connected to that beauty, and I know I'm connected to that flow and that art and that excitement, and that lives inside of me. When I was younger, I would go to Burning Man to connect to those feelings, and now I feel like it's here with me, and it's really beautiful. And it's not to say that I wouldn't go back. It's just to say that I am very grateful for those experiences and how it shaped me and how it's shown me so many of the fuller expressions of life. And another thing to add, people ask, what are your siblings like? What are you like? What do? You burner wild children. And to that I say that we are still wild. My brother lives out in Hawaii, and he does canyoneering, backpacking, adventure related work. My sister is a mystic, a poet. She does Akashic record reading and astrology. She also has run a very successful coaching business throughout her adult years. And me, I'm an artist. I'm stepping into teaching art, but from a creative perspective, teaching creativity and how to flow between different art practices, because I do a lot of different art. I do tattoo, I've done oil painting, I've been a classically trained painter, I've done fire dancing, I've done a lot of contemporary style dancing, performance, but as of recently, I just love to teach, and I also do astrology as well. So yeah, we are very interesting children, adults, children in adult bodies. It has definitely shaped us in a very fun and beautiful way in life. And I'm very grateful for that. So grateful for just being open-minded and free-spirited and living life to the absolute fullest. And just because a lot of my friends are asking, I'm also going to answer this question, which is, am I going to the burn this year? The answer is no. If I could, I would. But, I mean, I can, but it's not fully in alignment. In this rare circumstance where someone wanted to gift me a place to stay with the whole 9 yards and a ticket and whatever, I would go. But I just want to direct my energy towards different things. And that's travel. And my business. Things of that nature. That feels more important right now for me, to be in service, because I have been such a free spirit throughout my 20s, and I'm 29 now. For those of you who haven't done the math, I'm 29. And I plan on making more of these videos. So if you would like to like and subscribe and support the page, please do. I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, all the things as Gemma Rose Flows. So yeah, hit my line. Thanks for watching.